Grand rising, everybody. Now, like coming to live, spirit and coffee. Got more coffee here. Salute to you. Mm, amazing. So, I again took a little break and been doing that lately. I think that it's important that we listen to our bodies, ourselves, our mind, our spirit. As you guys know, spirit and coffee is really about honoring that, right? It's a place where individuals can come and learn some teachings, and to hopefully take something away that can help them to expand in their life or find some deeper meaning or purpose in their life. And to remember that we are all love, and that we all circle back to love. Not an easy concept to live by always, especially when things are starting to show up in our life that feel icky or sticky, icky, sticky. And to just love all no matter what, right? Regardless of what happens, regardless of what they say or how they view you or what they think of you. Um, and it's the way it is, right? If we look at any individual who puts their self out there or is trying to support, right? You're always going to get what they call haters. That's part of it. That's part of it. It's part of the package. And this is what people don't understand, specifically when they're saying, well, I want to be a star, I want to be this, or I want $1 million, they don't understand the consequences that come with that. It becomes this responsibility because now you are sort of magnifying something within the public eye, right? And not everybody has your same perspective or your same view. Or if you, let's say, for instance, want $1 million, there's going to be people showing up at the woodwork. Are there going to be people that quote unquote hate? Well, why them? Why not me? I deserve it more than they do. They've done this, da da da. And so what ends up happening is this brewing of upset in an individual. And we could look at it from the space of maybe the sins, right? It could be this envy that sort of shows up, and starts to brew and be cultivated within the individual. Well, that individual is feeling that way typically. I'm not saying always, because they're not living into their divine purpose or their divine right, or there could be identity crisis there as well. When we have identity crisis, when we start to look at ourselves and say, you know, they're doing what I want to do. Or if we're upset or jealous, or we look at somebody and we're like, they're doing what I want to do, and they get upset about it. Why? Because they feel like they're not fulfilling their divine purpose. It has nothing to do with you. Now, typically, these individuals don't understand that. They don't even look inside themselves to understand it. They can't even see it most times. And so what they want to do is point the finger, right? And say, well, they're this or they're that or they're this or whatever it is that they do in order to make themselves feel better for not living up to their divine purpose. And so this happens with individuals all the time. So putting yourself out there, there's individuals, hey, Alfie, how are you? There's individuals that, when they're in the public eye or they start to do something and people are afraid to actually get out there and do, like for me, people say you're brave, the fact that you get out there and do this, I've been wanting to, this is what I hear. I want to get out there, but I'm afraid. I want to get out there, but I don't have confidence. I'm out there, but I wish I could do what you do. You know what they're afraid of? They're afraid of the fact that not everybody's going to agree with them. And I'm not saying this is fully why they're afraid. And they could be afraid because of the negative shit that people say or come back. And that is part of the process. Trust me, people have said shit about me. People are going to say stuff about me, and that's okay. That's part of it. Not everyone's going to be, I'm not going to be everybody's cup of tea. Not everyone's going to like me. I've had people get on here and say stuff and whatever. I'm not defined by that, right? I don't define myself by some of the things people say. It's not who I am. I know who I am. I don't need to justify it to anybody except for God, right? Except for the divine creator. I don't need to justify who I am. I know who I am. My intentions are pure. They come from a place of love. But I'm not going to take someone's shit either, right? Do no harm and take no shit. I love that quote. I love that saying. We all have the right to be who we are. And if we're doing out of loving kindness and an individual still attacks you, you have a right to protect yourself. You have a right to do what you need to do to keep yourself safe. So putting yourself out there, right? Me even putting myself out there is exposing myself to negative as well as positive things. And there's going to be people who knows, they could be talking about me behind my back. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not going to waste my time and effort and energy into trying to make people like me. That's not the point here. The point is go like yourself. I'm just working on liking myself. So, there are parts of myself that drive me bonkers too. And I know it. I drive my own self crazy. So when individuals show up like this, and I'm going to tell you a story. So there's things that have been, brewing and happening, of course, in my life. That's the way life goes. And individuals saying things that I particularly don't know what was said about me. I'm not 100% sure what was said about me, but maybe some brewing envy, or it could be, I don't know what envy or jealousy or whatever's brewing in them. Um, and the individual. But what I love is that the people that I'm around, right? The people that I'm surrounded by, the people that are within my circle, they are not shaming or blaming the individual. They're not saying anything harmful or hurtful. And this is what I love. Surround yourself with people, individuals, right? Who want to protect and serve. Okay. Protect and serve. They're not saying this individual's wrong. They're not trying to harm the individual. What they're saying is pray for the individual. Pray that they find their path. Pray that they find the light. Pray that they find their love. Pray that they tap in and that they remember that they are beautiful inside and out. What a freaking awesome message to give. That's how you know that the universe is talking to you and you're on the right track. When you have individuals who can see that somebody's headed into the shadow, and rather than shaming them, blaming them, or making them wrong for it, basically shifting it and saying, let's pray for them. Let's make sure that let's help them come out of into the light, into an understanding. I mean, that's a beautiful place to be. Not an easy place to be. When people attack us, we want to attack back. That's what we were programmed to do. It's also an instinct, right? If you looked at us and you go back to, these primal times, I don't know if we ever lived in primal times, but that's a whole nother story. But anyway, our reaction was survival. So if there were things that were going to attack us, we were in survival mode. We attacked back, right, to protect ourselves. But right now, when it's a spiritual warfare or mental warfare, we don't need to attack back the same way because there's no threat of being killed. Like maybe our personality will be killed off, so it feels like we're going through a death. But when someone calls you an asshole, you don't drop dead. Or if someone says you're a jerk, you're not going to just drop dead. It's not like the same as someone putting a dagger or shooting you with a gun. It's not the same thing. It feels like it, but it's not. So we have the ability, good morning, Carl, to overcome and transmute that energy in a different way. We can strike back and we can talk back, and that's a way of dealing with it. The harder way is to take that energy and transmute it into love and then reflect love back to an individual. Not easy. That's not an easy process. In fact, if it was so easy, there'd be a billion trillion followers on my Facebook. Everybody'd be like, yeah, that's the best thing I've ever heard. No. It's easier to strike back. If I was talking about getting revenge or getting back on people, I bet you I'd have a larger audience. That's the message. And I'm not saying because that's what people want to hear. It's just easier, right? It's easier and it's more entertaining for an individual to watch violence or, we do. I mean, that's what we've been programmed to watch. It's almost like we've numbed ourselves out. But to sit here and say, I'm going to overcome this, the internal struggle, the internal battle to overcome it, not as easy, not as fun, and not as many individuals are going to ascribe to that, right? They're going to be like, yeah, I'll just push it to the side or act as though it doesn't exist, right? So, super good morning to those on Podbean. How are you guys? So, loving individuals no matter what. Not easy. And we are gonna, if you do decide, like, let's say for instance, you're like, I want to create my own podcast. I want to get out there. I haven't done it. I have literally 3 hours of material on Spirit and Coffee, live video. I mean, it's a lot of material. It's a lot of me putting myself out there, being vulnerable and sharing things that are very intimate. And doing it without permission, doing it without, worried about what people are going to think, because people are always going to have an opinion. People always have some shit to say. It's just the way life is. People are always going to say, oh, you're too much of this, or you're too much of that, or I don't believe what you say, or I don't care what you say, or you're a jerk, or you're this, or you're that, or you're a phony, or people say all kinds of stuff. And for me, I'm like, whatever. I know who I am, so it's not going to bother me. If I do get triggered by something that is said, right, then I have to search within myself and ask myself, why am I getting triggered by this? What is happening? Why is it that something inside of me is getting triggered by it? Because there's something deeper. Good morning on Facebook, whoever got on here. There's a deeper rooted, seated programming that's triggering in the subconscious mind, a repressed feeling. And I have to ask myself why. And it's a good opportunity to do self-reflection. So there's no need to really get mad at an individual when they trigger you. It's an opportunity to look at yourself a little deeper. It's an opportunity for you to open up and say, okay, why did I get triggered by that? What was inside of me? What happened that pushed a button for me? Those are the opportunities for us to grow and blossom. So if someone got on here and said they had an opinion of me that didn't resonate with me, that didn't harm me, because internally I know that that's not who I am, I'm not going to get upset about it. But if someone got on here and said something and it triggered me, then I start to look at that, right? I dissect it bit by bit. I'm like, okay, that really irritated me. Why? That triggered me. Why did that trigger me? What happened inside of me? Why did this show up for me? And then I start to process it. And then after I process it, I'm like, okay, I know what it was. That gives me power and responsibility with my own self, and an ability to not be stuck in a storyline, right? That's not going to allow me to move forward, because that's what we do. We hold on to shit. So it's harder to say, I'm going to transmute this energy and love this person and pray for them no matter what happens or what is said. It's not easy. And that's why there's not a trillion billion followers, because, some people will say, just whatever they say, whatever their advice is. But being surrounded by individuals who are beautiful people, beautiful individuals, people that, good morning stickers, people who give a damn about humanity and want to share in the love and want to support individuals, rather than saying, oh, that person's an a-hole for saying this about you or this or that. They say, you know what? They're in a dark space. Pray for them. Pray that they find the light. Those are the type of people I surround myself with, that I want to be surrounded with. People that remind me that I am love. People that remind me that I am one with the universe. People that remind me that we are all interconnected and that we are all sacred family. That's the type of people I want to be surrounded by. And people that will call me out on my shit too, but in a loving way, in a loving space, right? Like, Natalie, blah, blah, blah. Oh shit, okay. Yeah, because I can own and accept when I do things that, are crossing boundaries. That's another thing. Are you recognized when you're crossing boundaries? Because there's boundaries that are set, right? And some people don't know how to communicate them, and some do. And when they do, are you allowing yourself to hold back and not continue to cross the boundaries that they ask you not to? Super critical. Super important. If somebody says, please stop, just stop. No need to get mad. It's that there's too, it could be too much for them, and they're not ready. And that's okay. It's not your issue, right? But that's not what happens. We take things personal, right? Good morning, Jess. So learning a lot. Good morning. I don't know who's on Facebook. I don't say good morning. Maybe I see that there's someone on here, but I don't know who it is. Doesn't show me. I don't know why. Facebook. Drive me nuts. I want to say good morning to people. Good morning, who's on Facebook? Who are you? Say something. Oh, I'm going to take a drink of my coffee. Oh, shoot. And let's see here what does it. Hi. Thanks for saying hi. So understanding that. So if you are somebody who's wanting to have their own podcast, wanting to get out there, wanting to engage in, a larger audience, wanting to be vulnerable enough to put themselves out there, know that it could be that you're resisting have a resistance to doing it because of some of the energy that you might be inviting into your space, and some of it might be haters, and that just happens. It's part of the process, but know that it's okay. I mean, think about it. Okay, so let's look at it from a bigger perspective. Even people want to be famous. People want to be stars, right? They're like, I want to be famous. I want to be this. I want to be, okay. There's consequences that come with that. Let's think about a star who's like really well known. Okay. Let's do Michael Jackson. Okay. Everybody knows who Michael Jackson is. That dude had no privacy. He had to give up all his privacy. Everywhere he went, people wanted something from him. He probably couldn't say much, because if he said the wrong thing, imagine all the backlash he got. Not everybody liked him. Not everybody loved him. He, in fact, went through trials for being a pedophile, for doing all this stuff, right? So he had to be exposed. Now, this wasn't an undercover thing. Everybody had an opinion about it, right? This one individual. Think about all of that energy being thrown at you. We can barely handle energy from sometimes going to a party and all the energy that's flowing through that party, right? Like, you walk in, there's people, and you're like, oh, it's too much. I'm ready to leave. Imagine you're a star and everybody knows you, and no matter what party you walk into, the energy's directed at you. Good, bad, ugly, right, wrong, whatever it is. Even obsession, right? Obsession energy is very heavy energy to carry. When somebody's obsessed with you, or somebody whatever, that's a heavy energy that gets thrown at you, right? So when you put yourself in the public eye, or when you are famous, you're saying, I agree to taking on all that energy. Well, shit, I can barely handle my own energy sometimes. I don't know if I want to handle billions of people's energy. Think about it. right? So a lot of the reason why there's a resistance there's because perhaps people are not ready to take on that type of energy. Look at little old me, right? Little old me with spirit and coffee. Again, I don't have billions and trillions of followers. There's people don't know who I am. And there could be maybe 5 people, and I'm receiving energy from those individuals, right? And that energy still impacts me in a way, right? I still have to clear energy. And sometimes people can get on here and be little tricksters or, say foul stuff, and I have to learn how to deflect the energy. That's part of spiritual alchemy. But it's a small portion of individuals, right? It's not like a big audience of individuals. Because why? Because God says you're not ready for that type of energy. What I'm saying is you got to start somewhere. And yes, if you, let's say, for instance, it is being something like in the public eye or starting to a podcast or starting a Facebook Live or whatever it is, that you will be receiving some of that energy and you have to understand how to handle it or manage it. You could go crazy. These people go crazy. Think about stars. They go crazy with all that. Look at what happened to Britney. She just shaved her head off. She's like, I'm sick. I don't even want like our hair holds energy. And she had so much energy being directed at her. She didn't know what to do. So she shaved her head. She didn't want it. She just wanted to get rid of the energy. And there was energy in her hair. There was energy in her body. She was just trying to escape her body. So we think we want these things, but really do we? We don't even know what the consequences are or what comes with it. And some people realize that there's a consequence that comes with it, and so they're afraid to get started and do it. So I had to, when I started Spirit and Coffee, if I'm going to do things in the public, if I'm going to talk to individuals, if I'm going to be out there, I know that there's going to be individuals that come back and don't necessarily agree with me, or they might say things that are hurtful or whatever. That's part of it, though. That's part of putting yourself out there and being vulnerable, is that you're going to open up the shadow side. The shadow's going to come back and say stuff. That's the way it works. That's the way life operates. And it's all right. It's happened. But here's the beauty. If you're on the right path, if you're holding that true intention of love and kindness, you oftentimes don't even have to protect yourself, because God will show up and God will protect you through other individuals. And that's how you know you're doing the right thing. There's a protection around you. There's a shield around you. It's almost like you don't even have to say anything, because people understand who you are, will stand up for you as well. So being out there and exposing yourself, right, is not an easy thing. I know a lot of individuals who say, I wish I could do it, I want to do it, but it might not be for you, because there's a lot of responsibility that comes with it too. And you've got to be honest with yourself. Are you willing to take that energy on? Because it is energy that you take on. And what is your capacity to take on this energy? And what if it opened up and happened so fast and you didn't know what to do? You can go crazy, right? It can be a detriment to your own self worth, to your own self well-being, and too much. Okay. All right. So there you have it. And good morning, Bruce. I don't know if you're still on here. I think people are just getting off and on. But and good morning on Facebook. I don't know who's on here. I thought I saw somebody, I thought, but I don't know who it was. Cheers. But I will close with this. We are blessed. I am blessed and grateful for all the opportunities that I get and come my way. Super grateful for life. And for my family. And by family, I mean my Kung Fu family, my Spirit and Coffee family, my family, my friend family, everybody, right? The world, the universe, whatever, all my family. Grateful, and praying for those individuals that are perhaps in the shadows right now and not trying to or can't see, or trying to see the light and can't really see the light, and are self-sabotaging. That love and light and kindness be instilled in their heart so that they can come out of the darkness, so that they can recognize that they too are beautiful creatures of the light and beautiful creatures of this world, and that they too have gifts, and that those gifts are just as important as anybody else's. And they need not shame others for sharing their gifts, because they have their own gifts to share as well. Because that's really what ends up happening. We end up getting upset because someone's sharing their gifts and they think they don't have gifts to share. Or why them and not me? Well, you too. Absolutely. Share your gifts with the world. You have some beauty, magnificence to share. It's as equally important as the next individuals. We can't do it alone. We're here to hold hands, unite, and do it together as one. No need to point fingers. If you point a finger, point it inward. Ask yourself, where is this coming from? Not easy though, right? It's not easy you've got to be very self-aware, and you've got to catch yourself. And sometimes, good morning, Suzanne, catching yourself, boom. And then you're like, okay, let me point the finger internally and see what's going on inside. Okay. So big warm hug. I love you guys so much. And of course, I will be seeing you all tomorrow, back on this week again. I'm taking little mini vacations here and there, but always here to serve, protect, and serve. That is my motto for this rest of this year. We'll see if that's something that I continue on for the next year. So protect and serve, and Kung Fu. There you have it. Love you guys so much. Have a magnificent day, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.